All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. 2-year anniversary. I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago. Hard to believe it's been 2 years since I started my channel. But everyone, thanks for joining. Mike, thank you for your question. I'll get to you, get your question answered for you. Hello, Rita. Hey, Sue. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Mr. Toodles, how are you doing? Thank you very much. Appreciate the congrats there. So I'll wait for some people to get on. We have about 5 people so far. I'm curious what you guys think about the timing regarding this. I ask this every single week. It seems like 6:30 is a little bit on the late side, especially since on the East Coast it's 9:30 p.m. So let me know what you guys think. Does this time work for you guys, or would you prefer it earlier? I even contemplating about doing it on the weekend too. I could do a live stream on the weekend. So let me know. All right, let's get to some of these questions here. Thanks for everyone who has posted a question here. Just finance a car, and Micah, thanks for your question. I just financed a $30,000 car. How long should I wait till I can rightfully look into mortgaging a house? So you have to take a look at what your monthly your monthly auto payment is for your new car loan, because you want to have your debt to income ratio of less than 50%. And ideally less than like 45, 46% in order to get the best rate, in order to qualify for a loan too. So you have to take what your monthly payment is and then add in what all of your other debt payments would be, such as like your housing payment, any credit card payments you have, student loans, et cetera, and then take a look at your gross monthly income to see if you would qualify for that less than 50% threshold. If you're not too sure, there's some calculators online. Like I was just looking at Rocket Mortgage has a calculator there. Or you could also reach out to a local loan officer and ask, hey, here's my debt payments, here's my income. Would I be able to qualify for a house? You may be able to qualify right away, but just know that your auto payment, the lender is going to be looking at that in order to qualify you for a loan. So if that makes sense. Welcome everyone who is joining. So yeah, hope that answers your question there. Rita, thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. All right, you have a question here. Good one. I'm selling my townhouse in Los Angeles around the end of January next year and moving to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm thinking about renting first. I have about $300,000 in equity. That's awesome. You must have owned this townhome for a while. What are your thoughts about it? I have never been to Jacksonville, Florida. So my question to you is, do you plan to live in Jacksonville, Florida for 10 plus years? Do you plan to buy something and live in it for a long, long time? Are you new to Jacksonville, Florida? These are the things I would want to know before answering your question there. If you're completely familiar with Jacksonville, Florida, you love it, you anticipate living there for a long, long time, then of course, yeah, you could buy. Just make sure you have long-term time horizons, you have emergency fund, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, $300,000 in equity. That's awesome. And thanks very much. Congratulations on your second anniversary. Great job. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I can't believe it's been 2 years and the channel has changed so much over the past 2 years. I started the channel all talking about what it's like to live in the greater Sacramento area. Then the pandemic hit. We were forced to stay at home. So my channel changed right after that, just posting videos about housing market updates, stimulus packages, and et cetera. So yeah, thank you for that. Sue, I appreciate that. Congrats on your 2-year milestone. It just so happened I didn't plan it this way, but the live stream just coincided with I just noticed this is my 2-year anniversary. Pretty wild. And hello to you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, YouTube's so much fun. I tell you, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it is so much fun. And I really enjoy helping people, giving them the latest housing market stats directly from sources. I hope you guys appreciate that. I think I answered your question there, Micah. Just take a look at your debt to income ratio. You want to make sure it's less than 50%, ideally less than 45, 46%. And then next week, by the way, I'm going to have Ryan Lundquist of sacramentoappraisalblog.com. He is an amazing guy, has a lot of great insight about the housing market, especially in the greater Sacramento area, but not just the greater Sacramento area. He has a lot of experience as being an appraiser. And so I'm going to have him on the live stream next week on Tuesday. So mark your calendars for that. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you as always. Hey, works for me. All right, awesome. Thanks for joining. Yeah, you're welcome, Micah. Thank you, Crystal. Congratulations. You are appreciated. Well, I appreciate you for joining, and I appreciate your comment too. Thank you. Yes. All right. Okay, cool. You'll be living there for a long time. Yes. I mean, if you were saying, hey, Jason, I want to move to Jacksonville, Florida, and I only want to live there for 3 years, then hey, I would definitely rent. You'll be there for a long, long time. You're familiar with the area and you're self-employed, have a 750 score. Cool. Yeah, I think you need around 750-ish, 740 to get the best interest rate. So I would just look to see, what based on your budget, what's available out there. I haven't rented in a long, long time, and I prefer to be a homeowner, but it's not for everyone. You'll have good income this year and less expenses claimed. Last year claimed too many expenses. I hear you. Before I started YouTube, I used to spend money on ads, not ads, well, leads, basically, a long, long, long time ago. My expenses have gone down greatly. I'm curious, what kind of work do you do, Rita? Maybe you're a real estate agent. I don't know. Sundaran, Rahan, appreciate your videos. They're very helpful. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Thanks for following the channel. Hello, Jason. Happy to your happy. I was gonna say happy to you too. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that very much. All right. I think the money bank will be more of a competitive. I think the money with money in the bank, it'll be more. Maybe you're saying that you're going to be more competitive on your offers if you have a lot of money in the bank. You're putting a lot of money down. That's definitely true. Okay, cool. A psychotherapist. Orlando, good to see you. How you doing? Hello from Chicago. Do you happen to know Dan Frio of my gosh, I forget the name of his channel. Dan Frio, he's a channel about the mortgage rates and also the housing market. I think he's based in Chicago. So do you follow his channel? He was going to join tonight, last minute, but looks like he has a meeting. Home buyer. I'm curious, out of the guys here, everyone who's watching here, look about 33, almost 40 people now. Are you guys home buyers? Are you guys potentially home sellers? Are you real estate agents? Are you in the industry? Please leave me a little chat here. Let me know. I'm always curious about what my audience is comprised of. Susan has a good question. Susan Jang, thank you for your question. Do you know any good property management person in the or company in the Sacramento area? Yeah, I have a lot of clients and just acquaintances that use property management companies. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but you're more than welcome to send me an email. It's jason@meetjasonwalter.com. And I'd be happy to, give you a referral if you like. Yeah, get an Airbnb. That's smart. Yeah, honestly, I haven't been following this too much. I know that they've been missing their debt payments. The question is regarding Evergrande, if you want to be funny about it, Evergrande. So yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen there. Are they going to be selling out a lot of assets? Is the government going to bail them out? Time will tell. I should honestly do some more research about that. I'm kind of waiting to see how it all shakes out, and then maybe I'll make a video about it. What are your thoughts about it, though? I'd like to hear, or anyone who's watching, what are your thoughts about Evergrande and how is it going to affect our housing market or economy? Okay, yeah, Millennial Money, you're a buyer. Awesome. Whereabouts? Just out of curiosity. Sue M, can you share your tips on finding a good agent? I know you've touched on this before. Yeah, I haven't made a video about that. Actually, it would be a good video to make. Tips on finding a good agent. So I would ask for, friends and family for referrals. And then if you don't get any, if you're going in an area where you don't know anyone, go on YouTube, see if there's any YouTube people in your area you're looking to buy in. I think that's a good way to get to know someone just through video. And so you kind of get an idea about, what type of person they are, and then what type of expertise they have. So I would just ask for friends and family for referral. Maybe look on YouTube for the area you're looking to buy in. And then also you can search them online. So if I was like, if I was a home buyer looking to buy in, any town USA, I'd probably just would search online. You can search on Zillow and Yelp for reviews. That's probably what I would do. And on Zillow too, you can look at their past sales sometimes if they post them. So you can get an idea about if they're an active agent or not. That's what I would do. Also have a partnership with Home and Money. So you can go to homeandmoney.com backslash or slash Jason. I always mention that on the channel, so you're probably aware of that. That's a great source though, because what they do, let me just post the here. So I'll post a comment there. So I just put, so you, if you go to this website, it's a partnership. I partner with homeandmoney.com. So when you go to that website, you enter your search criteria and then what type of home buyer you are. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you've purchased many houses before and the areas you're looking to buy in. And so they'll link you up with at least 1 to 2 agents, ideally 2 agents. And that way you can interview them, get a feel if it's someone you want to work with or not, and then select in one of those agents if you want to work with them, and then get your home search started. And so I think that's really good because they have thousands of agents they work with, and they are already vetted, right? So they're not going to be referring to someone to an agent who is constantly doing bad work and bad service. So that's one of the reasons why I partner with them. And that's definitely one of the questions I asked before I did, because I want to make sure anyone I refer to a service or product, they're going to have a positive experience. So you could go to that too, find an agent, no pressure either way. All right, so let's go back to some of these questions here. So I hope that answers your question there. All right, Chicago. All right, yeah. Okay, potential home buyer, awesome. Hope the videos are helpful. I'm working out of our Folsom office. Oh, is it Realty One Group? If so, awesome. I'm with the Realty One Group in Sacramento. Thanks for joining, Ryan. Yeah, that's exciting. Stacy is waiting to buy. Is that because home prices are high? Are you talking about Dan Frio? I'm not sure. Carissa C, frustrated millennial being booted out of any livable city by the horribly high home prices. I hear you, Carissa. Home prices have absolutely skyrocketed past year and a half. And I know there's a lot of people who are on the sidelines who are hoping to buy a house, and then how high home prices have gone. A lot of you guys have been priced out. So I totally hear you. It's super frustrating. And I honestly wish that we had a cooling of our housing market. So the home buyers I'm working with would have a better shot at buying a house, have more options. Because right now you see a house that hits the market, you have to view it within days, get an offer in, because houses sell so quickly, at least in my neck of the woods, the greater Sacramento area. It'd be much better if we could, take it a little slow, have a lot of options, and then formulate an offer a week later. But yeah, it's challenging. I hear you. And yeah, exactly. Keep your head up. Home prices can't go up indefinitely. At some point, we're gonna have to have some sort of correction. But anyone's guess when that's going to happen. Everyone's joining. I appreciate your time. 6:45 on a Tuesday. If you guys haven't hit the like button, appreciate it. I really appreciate your info on buying new home. I am now looking for a pre-owned home. Okay, mature trees, big yard. Yeah, I know exactly. There's pros and cons about buying a brand new house. For those of you who don't know what Rita is referring to, I made a couple of videos about the pros and cons about buying a new house, what to look out for. There's a lot to look out for, in my opinion, right now. So, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why some people like houses that are already built, that are more mature trees, bigger yard. Your property taxes tend to be a little bit less as well. But you tend to have more deferred maintenance too, right? So there's a trade-off. You called this number. Okay, you're talking about Dan Frio. I called this number about refinancing my mortgage, but the numbers didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense. So it didn't make sense to do a refi? So I'm hoping to move from Orange County, California to the desert, Palm Desert, desert. Okay, wow. Waiting on husband's job offer. We'll buy with cash after sale. Awesome. I'm curious. Are you going to be using Jed Smith as your real estate agent to sell your house? I think he's in the Orange County area. He's a YouTube channel. That's awesome. I bet you can get a lot more for your money out in Palm Desert compared to Orange County, I bet. Okay, Los Angeles County looking to buy. Awesome. Rita, okay, Opendoor. Okay, awesome. They gave me a pretty decent offer. So yeah, I'd also be curious if you're open to sharing with us how much is Opendoor or how much was Opendoor charging you, or would they charge you? I've heard ranges in like 5 to like 8%. And I know it's negotiable because I had someone who I was potentially going to be helping sell their house in the greater Sacramento area, and I think they ended up selling their house on through Open Door, and they kept on negotiating the price of the fee that the Open Door charges, and also the price as well as they're willing to pay. But yeah, what do I think about Open Door? So here's my thoughts about them. Um, I would really nail down about what price they're willing to give you for your house and the closing costs. So what can happen is that you get in contract with them for, let's just say, $800,000, whatever it is, and then they do their inspections later with someone else, comes in your house and looks to see what needs to be done at your house. And so what I have heard with these iBuyers that sometimes during those inspections, they not suddenly they ask for a credit or a price reduction in order to pay for those repairs. So just be on the lookout for that if you get in contact with Open Door or any iBuyer, or frankly any buyer really for that matter, is that they could you may not get your initial offer. So just be on the lookout for that. um, and I would say too, for Open Door, the hard thing with that is that how do you know what their price they're offering is a good offer compared to if you had it on the open market? So that's really tough. I would say that I would take a look at how much activity is in your area for your townhouse. So if I was in your shoes and I had a townhome in Orange County, I would look at see, how many active listings are there that are very close to yours? Are there a ton of houses or a ton of townhomes that are listed for sale right now? Or is there very, very few? And then you look at the previous houses that have sold in the last, let's say, 3 months. Have they all sold very, very quickly for over the asking price? So I would just take a look at like a good resource, of course, to be talking to a local real estate agent, or you can go to Zillow.com, of course, too, and look at, you can sort by houses that are for sale and also houses that also sold as well. And you can see how fast they sold and the price and stuff. So you can get an idea about, what would be a fair price for yours. So the challenge, of course, with Open Door is that you don't know for the offer that you're accepting from Open Door, you don't know if that's the highest offer you can get. The only way you'd be able to find out is have your house on the open market listed on the multiple listing service. So it's a tough call to make. Stacy, you're very welcome. Great, thanks. Past sales, great idea. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're very welcome, Sue. Thank you so much. Mohammed has a good question. What is the pros of buying a house when interest is low? So I would assume you mean interest rate is low, but home prices are high, which is more or less what we have right now, right? Versus home prices being low, but interest rate being high. So rather than looking at that, I would look at, rather than like timing the market per se, I would just look at buy when it's right for you. My parents bought a house in the 1980s. I think their interest rate was like crazy, like 15% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And now, of course, it's around like 3%. But home prices there were so low. And then you can refinance over time, which is what my folks did, I'm sure. So I would just say, buy what's right for you rather than timing the market. Um, I think if anyone would say that would agree with you. I think that home prices are high and interest rates are low. And so you could wait for interest rates to increase when home prices decrease. But when is that going to happen? No one knows. It's absolutely impossible to guess that. Um, it seems like interest rates are going to be increasing. They have increased about 0.5% in the last like 2.5 months. So they have been increasing. So I would just say that, buy when it's right for you rather than timing the market. That's my best advice for you. I know I'm not really directly answering your question, but it's a hard one to answer. Awesome, Samuel. Appreciate that. Thanks for all your hard work, Jason. Your videos are very detailed and objective. Can't wait to see you grow more. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I like your avatar, SC. It's cool looking. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Our trees, where is the evidence of the 1% interest rate increase to the 10% drop in home prices? I haven't seen the actual evidence of that. That might make for a pretty good video though. So one thing that this is obviously not always the case. This is kind of like a common people say, yeah, that approximately a 1% increase in interest rates causes a 10% drop of home prices, but it doesn't always happen that way. When you look at interest rates this year, they reached around, I was just actually just looking at interest rates reached about almost 3.5% in March of this year, right? But home prices continue to increase. So, I mean, obviously that didn't play out. So we had a 1% increase approximately because interest rates, by the way, were around what, 2.7% ish at the beginning of January, and they shot up to 3.5%. But home prices continue to increase. Maybe it's because interest rates were already so low. 3.5% still very low. Not too sure. But yeah, I haven't seen any evidence regarding that. It's a good question. Millennium Money, you took a break from home buying because of low inventory and prices are just climbing. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, we need more housing inventory across the nation because it's very challenging right now for home buyers. Carissa, you're very welcome. Stacy says, I'm lucky because I have all the time in the world for a correction. The longer I wait, the more cash I'll have. Hey, nothing wrong with saving in the interim. And yeah, there's no way to tell when we're gonna have a correction or a housing crash, that's for sure. Okay. Bobby. Always commenting in my videos. I love it. The crashes happening, buyers are get ready after January. We have a different opinion, and Bobby knows that, but I appreciate his comments on my channel. Yeah, time will tell. I mean, I think we definitely need a correction. It would definitely be more of a healthy market if we had a slowdown. But yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have a crash. All depends on housing inventory, in my opinion, housing inventory and mortgage interest rates. If rates were to shoot up greatly, then yeah, we could be in trouble. And then if inventory increases greatly as well. But yeah, hard to say if and when when that will happen. Thanks for your comment though, Bobby. Logan, thanks for your question. I am shocked, or comment. I'm shocked for how few people are listing given the price appreciation. Yeah, I hear you. I'm in Charlotte, and even with a healthy budget, we can't even find anything to overpay for. Oh man, yeah, you would think that. I mean, I honestly thought that last year more people will list their houses, recognizing that, hey, oh my gosh, like a lot of home sellers are selling their houses in less than a week. They're getting multiple offers. They're selling for way over the asking price. They're getting a rent back if they want it. I mean, they're basically getting everything they want. But the downside, the other side of that is that let's just put myself in the equation here. If I want to sell my house, where am I going to move to? I'm going to buy a new house. Then my property taxes are going to be going up quite a bit because if I want to buy a house that's bigger than mine or even the same size, I'm going to be paying way more than what I paid. So my housing payment's going to be a lot higher. If I were to and say, hey, I want to cash in and get all my equity out and sell and rent, then where am I going to rent? And then if I do rent, and if I want to have the same size house, then my rent could potentially be even higher than I pay for my housing payment now. So I think that's a lot of the problem we have right now is that we're not going to get more inventory until we have more inventory. So if we get a lot of people listing their house for sale, then maybe people will say, oh gosh, I see more options available for what I'm interested in. I'll get my house listed too. So it could be this like snowball effect. But yeah, that's a challenge with low inventory. It affects people's decision on whether or not they should list their houses for sale. All right, on Jake. Congrats on 2 years. I've been subscribed since last year and find your videos very helpful. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for that, Jake. And you have a follow-up question on that. What are your thoughts on the Bay Area housing market? We are renting and looking to buy a house, but not sure how work from home remote options will look like in the coming months. Oh, okay. Some employers have been telling people, hey, yeah, you can work indefinitely. It doesn't matter. So it makes it very easy to decide, hey, let's just move to Sacramento or Austin, Texas, or whatever. But if you're in a scenario where your employer is saying, hey, we're not going to, you can work from home now, but it might change in a couple of months, then yeah, that could change things drastically for you, right? The Bay Area housing market, I'm not really too familiar with the housing market there. I know that San Francisco, if you look at like earlier on during this pandemic, they didn't have a whole lot of activity, whereas like home prices were going up like just a little bit or more or less were flat. Whereas the outlying areas of the Bay Area were like shooting up. And now that's kind of having opposite effect. I'm seeing more price appreciation in San Francisco. So yeah, I mean, as you probably know, if you're looking to buy a house in the Bay Area, it's very, very expensive. So just take a look and see what's out there and see if you see anything that looks interesting. But yeah, the work at home arrangements, if that's going to change the next coming months for you, I would hold off. Like if you, I don't know, you decide to buy in Austin, Texas or Sacramento, and then you find out later that you're going to have to go back to work 5 days a week and to commute to San Francisco from Sacramento, for example, oof, that'd be a rough commute. And Stacy says, I believe that there will be a correction, maybe not today or tomorrow, but it will correct. At some point, it'll have to. I mean, home prices can increase indefinitely, but it's hard to say when it will happen. Jed Smith, yeah, I'd recommend him. You should reach out to him. He's a good guy. I think he's an honest guy too. I haven't worked with him directly. I haven't referred him to a client, so I don't really know him that way, but we've done collaborations together. Seems to be an honest guy. But yeah, he's in the, where is he? Somewhere in Orange County, Huntington Beach, I think, maybe. But yeah, take a look at his YouTube channel, Jed Smith. I got lost track of Rito at 5%. Did I ask you a question about percentages? I don't know. I can't remember. Sorry. Oh, I see. That's right. Opendoor. That's right. Opendoor. So 5%. Okay. This is a question about Opendoor. They tried to charge me to fix things, but my home is pretty good. So I negotiated. Okay, good for you. So you're already down the line there. So closing 0.9%, no inspection, no appraisal, just someone comes to see the outside. Okay, yeah. So your closing costs are 0.9, closing 0.9%. I'm guessing you're saying that those are your closing costs on top of the 5%? I'm guessing. Yeah, heard about this. Elon Musk is moving his Tesla headquarters to Texas out of California. He had his a couple houses for sale by owner on Zillow. I kind of mentioned that in my video a while ago. He had a house in Los Angeles and I think around like the Bay Area, I believe. I can't remember. I think at least one of them sold. But yeah, that's a big deal. A lot of companies are moving out of California. California is not very business friendly, unfortunately. Need to get their act together. Not many. Okay, yeah, not many houses for sale. Their offer was even better from a realtor friend. Okay, side away a year. All right. Cheetos. Buy now. That way you're screwed in the year. Oh, man. Hard to say. I mean, people said that last year. They said that 2 years ago, and look at where we're at now. That's why I say just buy what's right for you. Yeah, this is the advantage of Opendoor or any iBuyer. Yeah, they can basically close anytime you want, more or less. You don't have to worry about an appraisal or any loan contingencies. That was pretty funny. All right. Congrats on 2 year anniversary. Appreciate it, Nick. How is inventory in Sacramento? Any price cuts that you've seen lately? I have not seen too many price cuts. I have seen some overzealous home sellers though, where there's asking for over the moon for their houses. So we're seeing that overzealous home sellers thinking that everyone has briefcases full of cash, moving from the Bay Area to Sacramento. But we're seeing an increase of inventory though. I can look at some stats for you. Let's see. I think inventory is up. Let's see. Just 1 second. Yeah, inventory is up. Actually, active listing inventory is down 4.7% compared to 1 month ago, but we're up 23% compared to a year ago. Home prices are up 21%. Pending home sales increased 8% last month in August. So there's your Sacramento housing market report. But yeah, you can shoot me an email. I can give you some more details regarding that. All right. Question. Do you eventually see supply being greater than demand, as if demand remains high, then prices will remain high? Do you eventually see supply being greater than demand? So if there's a greater supply, meaning more houses listed for sale than home buyers, that would be a buyer's market. I can't remember the last time we had a buyer's market. I think it was back in 2010-ish. So over 10 years ago. So that was in the Sacramento area. And then for most parts of the country. So it's going to take a lot to get to a buyer's market. So right now, I think the months of housing supply in the US is around like 2.5 months, if I'm not mistaken. That's from the National Association of Realtors. And so in order to get to a balanced market, we need that number to be in the range of like 3 to 6 months. And then if we need a buyer's market, meaning buyers have a competitive advantage over home sellers, we need that number to be over 6 months. And that will take a lot more of housing inventory in order to get there. So it's going to take a long time, in my opinion, to get there, unless inventory skyrockets and so does mortgage interest rates. So yeah, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, this is the problem with selling high. Where do you go? Rent high? Do you buy high somewhere else? I mean, some people are, selling in more expensive areas and have the ability to work from home. And so they're buying in more affordable areas and their housing payment goes down. And that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that's a big problem when there's a lack of housing inventory for rentals and to buy. It's a big problem. Archeries, could you possibly touch on perceived value versus actual value? I'm not sure what in reference is that's for. So if you want to provide some detail, let me know. Fazan, thanks for your question. Appreciate you. Hey, Jason, do you think there will be more inventory coming to the market because of all these moratoriums ending? So the foreclosure moratorium ended in the end of July, the federal one, and then the eviction one also ended recently as well. And that hasn't affected housing inventory as far as I know. So in my opinion, these moratoriums ending, it's not going to cause much of an issue. Because I mean, look at the foreclosure moratorium, for example. I mean, equity in people's houses is very, very high because home prices have increased so greatly, right? So even if someone took forbearance in, I don't know, let's say June of last year and then exited June of this year, even though they didn't make any housing payments, they have to pay that money back eventually. Their houses have increased in value by, depending on where they live, maybe around 15 to 20%. So I don't really think that these moratoriums ending is going to have much of an effect. I mean, it's not going to be, I mean, I'm sure in some areas maybe it will, but in general, no, I don't think so. All right. Turk East Bay. What do you think about investing in Sac, Roseville, Elk Grove versus Austin, Texas? I don't know a whole lot about Austin, Texas, other than the fact that I know home prices have absolutely, like, I say skyrocket a lot. I realize that, but I know that in Austin, Texas, home prices increased about 40% compared to a year ago. Last time I looked a couple months ago. So I'd be a little bit wary of that. If home prices increase so much, is that sustainable? Is there going to be some sort of correction? I don't know. It's really hard to say. But obviously, there's a lot of people moving from California, for example, to Austin, Texas. Investing in Elk Grove or Roseville. So one thing, if you're looking as your investor, looking at so Roseville and Elk Grove, I think of like newer houses, which of course, of course, there are older houses in these areas too. But as an investor, I'm looking at my ROI, right? Your return on your investment. You want to maximize your return and hopefully have some price appreciation too, as well. So one thing I think about with Roseville and Elk Grove, some of those areas have higher property taxes. Some of them have HOAs. And so that would kind of eat into your return. So just be cognizant of that. And you can easily look up any property taxes for any house in the greater Sacramento area. So if you want to, you can shoot me an email at jason@meetjasonwalter.com. That's jason@meetjasonwalter.com. It's in every single one of my video descriptions if you want to find it there. But yeah, that's my 2 cents regarding that. And John, with the recent increase in foreclosures, increase the housing available for sale and lower prices. So I haven't seen a whole lot of foreclosures, like actual sales from foreclosures. I've seen like foreclosure filings. Of course, that's been increasing greatly. But just keep in mind that depending on the area, I mean, it could take up to a year or even longer for when a house is foreclosed until when it ultimately hits the market. But just keep in mind, though, too, is that for foreclosures, often they're sold at the courthouse steps to cash buyers, investors. If they don't sell at the courthouse steps, then oftentimes they're sold by real estate agents. They're listed on the multiple listing service as real estate owned properties or REO properties. And that's when you can see the inventory as a ordinary buyer looking to buy a house. You'll see that in the form of a REO. But you may not see that for a year, potentially even longer, before you actually see these REOs come up. In the Sacramento area, our REOs or foreclosures make up, what is it? That's 0.1%. Yeah, 0.1% of all sales. We had 2 in August out of 1,600 houses that sold in August in the greater Sacramento area. So we're not seeing those houses hit the market just yet, really. So a long-winded answer to your question. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of foreclosures. Of course, it depends on the area, but because home prices have increased so much, that there's a lot of people who have positive equity in their houses and not negative equity. So I think that a lot of foreclosures we're going to see are the foreclosures that should have happened in like March, April, May, that they were already in the works. And then we have the CARES Act that was passed in March of last year, which disallowed foreclosures. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, John. Thank you everyone for joining. Gosh, we have 100 people on. This is amazing. I appreciate you guys' support. 2-year anniversary of starting my YouTube channel. Can't believe it's been 2 years. So yeah, I appreciate if you guys hit the like button, share the video. Do you think there will be any legislative measures by the government for investors due to first-time owners getting priced out? There are some measures in place there. I made a video maybe about 2 weeks ago where there's a kind of like this like first look period for REOs, for some REOs or real estate owned properties, where I can't remember the time period. It used to be like 10 days. I think they increased it to, I want to say it was like 21 days. Any case, whatever that time period is, this is for Fannie Mae or houses that are foreclosed on that had loans that are backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. They had a like what's called this first look period, where investors or people who are looking to buy an investment property and not live in the house themselves, they weren't able to write offers on these houses for at least I think it was like 3 weeks, like 21 days, I want to say. And then it gives first-time home buyers or anyone who's interested in buying a house and actually living in it a first look or a first opportunity to buy a house. So there are measures in place regarding that. So that's the first thing that comes into mind. So have a look at that. If you look at if you just Google first look, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you'll see some info. Or if you want to shoot me an email, I can send you the video I made regarding that. All right, Aaron, thank you for your question. Appreciate your question here. Do you expect home prices to fall or crash next year in light of the supply chain issues? Are you referring to new homes? So, short answer is I don't expect a housing crash next year. I am not a real estate fortune teller, though, right? So it all depends on things that are beyond our control. How many people are going to be listing their houses for sale? And how high are mortgage interest rates going to reach, right? Last I looked today, according to the Mortgage News Daily, rates reached 3.2%. About 2 months ago, it was around like 2.8%. So we went from 2.8 to 3.2. Sorry if I misspoke there. So I don't foresee a housing market crash next year unless a lot of drastic things happen where housing inventory skyrockets and so do mortgage interest rates. Then we could have some sort of correction. But in light of the supply chain issues, I don't think that's going to cause a housing crash. I'm not sure where you're going with that. But the supply chain issues is really affecting, obviously, new home builds, new home developments, where home builders are looking at, okay, well, I have this dirt lot. I want to sell it. Here's the house that's going to be going on, but I'm not going to be building this house for 6 to 9, maybe 12 months. And so builders are kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place because they're looking at, okay, well, I'm going to sell a house for whatever it is, $500,000. It's going to cost me $400,000 or whatever it is to build it. But they really are kind of like betting or estimating what the building material costs are going to be, plus any delays in the supply chain. So it's a big issue with home builders right now, trying to figure out what to do. And that's why they're not releasing tons of houses, because prices are so volatile. There's labor shortages and also the supply chain issues as well. I've heard recently they're having this with paint as well. All right. Red Monkey, is it better to buy property now since interest rates are so low? So yeah, the it's a good question. Gosh, I can't believe there's 130 people watching. That's awesome. Is it better to buy property now since interest rates are low? So there is a give and take regarding mortgage interest rates. So the Fed increased or decreased the federal funds rate to like 0% in March of last year, and that caused mortgage interest rates to absolutely fall, right? But what happened there? People saw, oh my gosh, interest rates are so low. But my housing payment's going to be so much lower now. And so I want to buy a house. So that increases home buyer demand, which ultimately increases home prices. And that's exactly what happened. Don't want to lose my voice like it happened like 2 weeks ago. Um, so the downside of buying when interest rates are low is that you're probably buying at a time when home prices are high. So it could have this balancing effect where it might be just the same with buying a house with a low price with a higher interest rate, right? So that's why I always tell people just buy what's right for you. All right, getting to your questions. I appreciate you guys leaving all these questions. It's awesome. All right. Okay, cool. Daniela, currently in escrow on an Opendoor owned house. Okay, so you're a home buyer purchasing Opendoor, purchasing well below the asking. Really excited. Awesome. Congratulations, Daniela. That's awesome. This would be a good question if I had a loan officer on the channel. I really do not know the answer to this one. Yeah, I want to have a loan officer on the channel every once in a while here, so I'll definitely do that. Ricardo, see, I'm noticing that too in Lodi. Houses were around 230,000 early last year. Wow, and now being listed for 400,000. Man, if you had $1 million and bought 4 houses, that'd be a pretty good return on your investment. Farzan, thoughts on the Metro Atlanta market? Yeah, I have no idea about the market there in Atlanta. Where do you see stats for inventory? So what I would do if you're looking to buy in anywhere in the nation, right? So whether it's in the Metro Atlanta area or anywhere USA, right? I would go and you can search your city's name. So like this in this example would be Atlanta, and search Atlanta Association of Realtors. And sometimes the local Realtors Association post housing market stats. So if you Google like Sacramento Association of Realtors, they post housing market stats every month. And so you can get an idea about what the market is doing like there. So yeah, if you're looking to buy in any area, I would just go on to Google and Google your city and then Association of Realtors. And sometimes they post like the Austin Association of Realtors, Austin, Texas. They post their housing stats on a monthly basis, and it's visible by the public too. Some of them you have to be a member of the association. Obviously, you're not going to be a member if you're not a realtor, but yeah. Gotta go. Jeopardy. Thanks for info. Catching the flip. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're very welcome, Sue. Let me know how it goes. Christian, looking to buy in the Modesto area. Seen a couple small price drops. Okay, that's a positive sign. Thank you, Rigo. Appreciate you. Thanks again. Your great content, your videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I tell you, some of these videos take a long time, and sometimes I do not have the time to do them. Stacy says, "You want to see? It's on this Christina Smaller channel. She had him. Yeah, I've had Jeb on it on my channel a couple times too. I'm also going to be on Christina's channel a week from, or is it a week from tonight? No, this Sunday actually. I'm going to be on her channel this Sunday. So yeah, you guys tune in. I think it's 1:30 Pacific Standard Time on Christina Smallhorn's channel. We've done a couple of collabs together. So much fun. Coinster, I don't want to be a fortune teller, but I think that spring 2022 is going to be off the hook. Low inventory, high demand will still be with us after Christmas. So yeah, I'm really curious about how this is all going to play out. So if interest rates remain, in my opinion, around 3.5%, then I definitely can foresee this happening where home prices continue to increase and then inventory remains very low. It's going to be interesting to follow. And I know you guys want me to make a housing market update video, and I will do that when I find the time to do that and kind of wrap my brain around it. But yeah, this is definitely a possible scenario. Another possible scenario, though, is if interest rates continue to increase greatly, then we could have a slowdown. Hard to say. If I was a fortune teller, I would tell you too. You tried refinancing your loan in the summertime, but all the lenders said my HELOC account wasn't good. I'm not sure what you mean by your HELOC account wasn't good, Orlando. You tried refinancing, so maybe do you have two loans? Do you have a fixed rate and also you have a HELOC you want to pay off? I'm not sure what you say that your HELOC account wasn't good. Asola in Los Angeles, the median household income is about $70,000, but the average home sale price is $915,000. It's crazy. How much longer until most will not be able to afford to buy? I mean, that's like some areas. Like you think of like, I know San Francisco, obviously income's like super high, but home prices in the Bay Area of California are incredibly high. And so some areas, a lot of people just rent. Unless you have like any crazy, great job where you can afford to buy $1 million house, right? MK says, if you can afford a house, buy it. Christian Reyes, I'm a first-time home buyer and scared to buy now or wait for wait for more or less. I think you mean competitive market. I understand why you're saying you're scared to buy because home prices are high. It's very challenging. There's lack of housing inventory. You have to compete against a bunch of different home buyers. So yeah, I would just say, buy what's right for you. Don't stretch yourself thin, right? So even though if you get your pre-approval letter from your lender and say, hey, I'm pre-approved for $500,000, it doesn't mean you have to buy a $500,000 house. Stay within your means. Make sure you have a nice comfort zone there. Yeah, congrats, MK. Just bought a house 2 weeks back. That's awesome. Congratulations. What would be the main reason of a supply shortage? David, thank you for your question. What's the main reason of supply shortage? I think you mean housing supply. When do you think it will end? Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, it's anyone's guess, right? I mean, how do we know how many people are going to be listing their houses for sale, right? And then we have the builders who are not building as much as we need. And so, when are we going to have the supply chain issues being fixed, the labor shortages, et cetera, et cetera. And then also building material prices have skyrocketed still. So it's a big issue. And um, what would be the main reason of the supply shortage? Just that, people obviously not listing their houses for sale. That's just kind of like the plain and short. All right. Nick says, thanks for the market report in Sac, California. We do real estate business in states of Utah and Florida. Seen some price cuts for higher end houses. Market will not go down much, in my opinion. Keep it where. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. And if you want to, you had the Sacramento market report, if you just Google Sacramento Association of Realtors, and then you click on housing stats, every month they have a housing stats that anyone can view. And they do a good job. It's like a 2-page analysis of what's going on in the housing market. So yeah, take a look at that. Or, I mean, even better, go to sacramentoappraisalblog.com. Ryan Lundquist, amazing stats he shares. Stacy thinks that there's gonna be a stock market crash. I mean, gosh, stock market's crazy too, right? How so? I'm curious. I don't know about anything about the Atlanta market. Benjamin, would it be more advantageous to buy new compared to a resale in today's market? I actually made a video about that. Gosh, I don't have that handy here, but I had a video. If you look at my channel, I made 2 videos. I think they're back to back. The pros and cons about buying a brand new house right now, and also what to look out for if you're buying a new. Number one thing I would say is there's 2 main things really. If you're looking to buy a brand new house, then make sure there's not an escalation clause in place. So the builders sometimes add this, like could be just a 1-page document that says, "Hey, Mr. Buyer, you're going to be buying this house for X number of dollars, but if I don't know, if lumber prices increase by more than 10%, you're going to have to pay the difference in that increase." So that's a big, big no-no if you're a home buyer. I can understand why home builders are doing that. That's something to definitely look out for. On top of that, the major downside, I know you talked about the advantages, but the major downside about buying brand new right now, if you're using a loan, is if you go to a home builder site and you pick a dirt lot and the house is not going to be built for 6 to 12 months, you're not going to know what your housing payment is going to be. So that's because you can't typically lock in your mortgage interest rate until the house more or less is completed. If you want to do it earlier than that, you get a higher interest rate. So that's a major, major issue in my opinion, because what if mortgage interest rates skyrocket to 4% by the time you're looking to close escrow on your house? So you're thinking, okay, my payment's going to be whatever it is, $2,000, and it shoots up to $2,500, and you're going to be on the hook. If you back out, you might lose your deposit. It's a big mess. But yeah, take a look at my channel. I posted 2 videos about pros and cons about buying a brand new house right now. MK is asking, what do you think about businesses or big companies buying houses, many in all cash? I know some areas there's a lot of activity where iBuyers or private equity firms like Blackstone, for example, are buying houses. But I'm not sure how much of an effect that has on the housing market. I'm sure some areas it does have an effect. In my neck of the woods, not so much. Most of the buyers we have right now are just people looking to move in. But I think on average, all cash sales in the US is around like 25%, which is still pretty high. So that a part of that is from these big companies. New Ares, new to the channel. Well, thank you. Welcome to the family. What do you expect for the housing market when tapering is announced? So I'm curious, the tapering, how drastic are they going to be doing that taper? Like, how long is that taper process going to be? When are they going to, when's the Fed going to be increasing the federal funds rate, right? So these are all things to take in consideration here that are, completely beyond our control, right? Um, Ever since the Fed announcement, though, if you caught my video from, I think it was last week, where when the Fed announced that they're going to be potentially doing their tapering of buying mortgage-backed securities, potentially in November, then the interest rates increased greatly. They were like 2.8%. Now they're at 3.2%, according to the Mortgage News Daily. So, yeah, I know it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. We had a bad jobs report, so maybe that's gonna, you know, second guess if maybe I'll make maybe that will um, cause the Fed to kind of second guess themselves on when they're going to start that taper process. Hard to say, very very hard to say. Real estate is local, no crash. The only places that crash are cities. Some cities are definitely coming back, and you want to buy. Okay. Good question, Jerin. Will it be a jumbo loan limit increase this year? Potentially. I don't really follow that so much. Definitely need to have a loan officer on the channel who make it to be able to answer that question for you. If you want, shoot me an email and I can get your question answered for you. Derek Gonzalez, appreciate you. Thank you for your question. Do you think SB9 will make large lots more valuable? I was thinking about that the other day. And so here's the issue with SB9. So for you guys who are not familiar, if you have a large lot, or it doesn't even have to be a large lot, but you can basically split a lot, build a duplex, and you can convert your house to a duplex. You basically have 4 units on one lot, right? The big challenge though is, like, for example, if I want to do that, split my lot, build a duplex, the cost of doing that and building a new construction is just absolutely insane. Sorry. So, in my opinion, this is not going to cause much of a change in the housing market. Of course, depending on the area, like if you have a old Victorian, it's very easy to convert it to 4 units when it was just 1 unit, for example. But if you have, like, let's just say a big lot and you want to build a duplex or even just like a second home, it's just like so insanely expensive that I don't think a lot of people are going to be doing it, or not enough to cause an impact on the housing market. And I don't think it depends on the area, of course, but in general, I don't think it's this. The SB9 is going to cause large lots to be more valuable. Depends on the area, though, of course. Gon Jr., do you see any end in sight? I assume you mean home prices increasing, and yeah, I don't see at some point that they will have to decrease, but anyone's guess when that's actually going to happen. Cheetos, or that Shy Toes. It's going to crash next year, the housing market. Yeah, hit the like button. I don't even look at YouTube. I'm on StreamYard, so I have no idea how many people have hit the like button. But yeah, if you guys want to hit the like button, I appreciate that. That'd be awesome. MK doesn't think so. Yeah, I don't know. Housing crash. Crash is a big word. All right, Nyima, which area do you suggest in Sacramento area for a great school and affordability? So a great resource for you is greatschools.org. That's greatschools.org. You can search by city, or even if you have a house you're interested in, you can see like the ratings for schools nearby. That is definitely a resource I would take a look at, greatschools.org, to have a look at school rankings if that's something that's important to you. And then affordability, yeah, everyone has their own definition of affordability, right? So I just go on to like typical websites, Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, and type in what you're looking to buy, or what you're interested in, and see approximately what home prices are in the area. And if you want any assistance, if you don't have a real estate agent, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Oh yeah, good question, Jerin. Do you have a website that you recommend for checking the daily interest rate? So, Mortgage News Daily, they have a great website, and actually look at that every single day. So, Mortgage News Daily, you can look at mortgage interest rates, and they also have a really good section about all the news regarding the mortgage and housing industry as well. I look at their website every day. I actually like looking at that better than like Freddie Mac, for example, because Freddie Mac only announce it every week. So yeah, Mortgage News Daily. Alejandro, cool looking motorcycle. That looks very, very fast. Would you recommend to buy a vacant land lot and start building it from ground up? So if you were in like Sacramento, for example, or like more or less anywhere in California, then the price to build a brand new house is just absolutely insane. Like just the remodel is like crazy, crazy high. And so I would look at, in your area, whatever you're looking to buy, how much is a land going to cost, and then talk to some contractors to find out how much is it really going to cost to build, because building material costs are absolutely through the roof. General contractors are super busy, and home builders are as well. That's what I would do if I was looking to potentially buy. I mean, I would love to live in a brand new house, but it's just so expensive. And I'm assuming you mean doing this yourself, right? So you're going to be buying a lot and then, then hiring a home builder. All right. MK, can you talk about applying the loan via bank and not from real estate recommended banks? Can you talk about applying the loan? So I think you're referring to, if you're a home buyer looking to get a pre-approval, you're talking about applying to get that via a regular bank from not real estate recommended banks. So I mean, here's what I'm thinking you're asking. Versus you getting pre-approval if you're a home buyer and just going to whatever, Bank of America or whatever, versus going to a lender that a real estate agent is referring you to. So in my opinion, so here's one thing you should know. As a real estate agent, if I'm referring someone to a loan officer, I cannot get compensated whatsoever. Not even kickbacks, no like, free movie tickets or whatever, nothing whatsoever. So if I have someone who says, "Hey, Jason, I want to know of a great loan officer in Sacramento," then I can refer them to someone, but I can't get compensated for it. So if I'm working with a home buyer, then I would much prefer them to work with my preferred loan officer in Sacramento, because they're someone I know, like, and trust, and that I've done a lot of business with. So I know they're going to have a positive experience, versus going to, whatever, like large bank, any bank. And then you go walk into the doors, you have no idea who the loan officer is going to be. Or if you call, I don't know, one of those online lenders, you don't know who you're going to be working with, what type of reputation they have, and also what type of experience they have. So I would recommend really to compare. Well, I would say basically, if you have a realtor you're working with, ask your real estate agent for one or two referrals. And then also, if you want to compare apples to apples, you can also go to your own bank too and find out what rates they are, so you can shop the rates. But just keep that in mind. I mean, I'd much prefer, as a real estate agent, for a home buyer to work with my preferred lender, because I know they're going to have a positive experience, and I know that they're going to abide by the contract deadlines. And so, Jerin, yeah, do you foresee interest rates? Yeah, interest rates have been increasing. They increased about 2.8 to, well, they increased to 3.2% today. So there was a 2.78% August 3rd, and today it increased to 3.2%. So they have been increasing lately. So we'll see if that continues. One would assume. Big Donkey, is it worth to buy 5+ acres away from the city and just have the land as an investment? So keep this in mind. So land tends to not increase in value as much, especially compared to a land that has a house on it. So you may buy this land and then you may not be able to have much of appreciation on the value there, unless you get lucky and buy an area that's developing very quickly. You heard many friends agreeing to get a loan from a real estate recommended banks, and it was messed up. Interesting. Okay, goes to show that maybe you don't always get a good loan officer. Jennifer Beeston is excellent mortgage expert. I don't know where she's licensed. Do you know, Jennifer? I think she has a YouTube channel, right? World of Wisdom. Enjoy all your videos. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm here in Boston. Love the info you put forth. Awesome. Gosh, 10:30 in Boston right now, right? Thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. Do you see a lot of foreign buyers with cash in the market? I don't see that myself in the Sacramento area. I'm sure there's a lot in other areas, though. MK says in Buffalo, I bought a house for 300,000. Wow, 0.4 acre, 5 rooms, same house in Boston at 1 million. Holy cow, 3 times more expensive, huh? Jerin, does the Folsom housing inventory increase recently? I don't really know. I haven't looked at the Folsom market stats recently, helping people buy there, but I haven't really looked at the stats there. If you, excuse me, if you want, you could shoot me an email and I can send you some stats regarding that, though. Jason at meetjasonwalter.com. Rita's Sunday mornings, huh? Okay. Yeah, what do you guys all think? I have 100 people still on the live stream. Thanks for joining, everyone. I mean, your support is like overwhelming. I really appreciate you guys' support. But yeah, I probably will do actually, probably what I'll do. I'll do a poll on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow about different times that people would like to do these live streams. Because right now it's 7:30, and East Coast it's 10:30. So I think it's a little bit late, but I'm trying to do that with family. So yeah, that's a good question. I will do a poll. Makeup Glam one. I am a cash buyer in Southern California. Awesome. I am, and I always offer over asking price about 5,000, but I keep getting outbid by finance offers. Do you think this will cool off soon? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the market there in Southern California, and I would say my question to you is why you're always offering $5,000 over. So sometimes what I see is that sometimes houses are listed for $100,000 less than they're appraised for. So they're listed very low. So I would really kind of rely on your real estate agent to provide some comparable sales to get an idea about, is the asking price super high and the seller is overzealous, or is the asking price really in line with what we think they would appraise for? Or in contrast, is a house listed for sale and it's a great deal? It's listed for, I don't know, $1 million, but it's going to appraise easily for 1.1 or 1.2 million. So I would keep that in mind when you're looking to bid. But yeah, you're getting outbid by finance offers. I definitely have had that happen to me as well, helping cash buyers and having to write multiple offers before we get an offer accepted, because we were seeing, at least earlier this year, where people were writing offers with no contingencies whatsoever, which can be pretty risky. All right. Sonia lives in the Central Coast, been thinking about the same. Wait till summer and see if there'll be more inventory and price range. Yeah, exactly. I mean, housing inventory, the lack of housing inventory makes it very, very challenging to buy a house. Danielle Rosario, you are awesome. Well, Daniel, you're awesome. Thank you, sir. Question I have: you have $100,000 in equity, FHA loan, been 3 years in the house. In Florida, you owe 198,000. brand new build, what's your advice to refi? I'd want to know what your interest rate is. So if you are, you basically owe 200,000. Sorry, you have, yeah, you owe 200,000. You have 100,000 equity. I would just reach. I mean, honestly, what I would do, I would just reach out to a local loan officer and see what options you have. I made a video about what to look out for too. So, question for you is that, do you plan to live in the house for a long time, right? So you want to make sure that the closing costs you pay for refining, find out what your break-even point is for paying back those closing costs with the savings you get from refinancing. If you're going to be moving in a year, maybe it might not make any sense. Oh man, Sonia, do you think the high-speed rule has anything to do with the crazy housing market we're in? Yeah, the high-speed rail, in my opinion, is a complete waste of money. So crazy. That's insane. I could go on and on. Yeah, 5,000 over. I did 200,000 over. Yeah. So that's the kind of my point here. I mean, I wrote offers 150, 100,000 over asking and still didn't get offer accepted. It just depends on the asking price, if it's reasonable or not. Also depends on, oh, wow, 200,000 over on seven. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. 200,000 over on a $700,000 listing. Wow. Impressive. Okay, so follow up, Orlando. Thank you. In April, I opened a HELOC account. In May, I tried to refinance my loan, but most lenders use that HELOC against me, even though the balance of the HELOC was zero. Oh, interesting. Why don't you just close it then? If the balance is zero and you're having trouble refinancing, maybe do you need it? If you don't, why don't you just close it? That seems like a scenario you can do. Wonder what your loan officer would say about that. But if they're having an issue with your HELOC, say that you have like, I don't know, $100,000 you can tap into if you want to, then why don't you just close it? And maybe the issue you're having is that you're trying to refinance your first mortgage and you want to keep your HELOC. You can't do that. San Diego real estate market is crazy. I do love San Diego though. Rita, thank you very much. That's awesome. I love that you provide solid information based on research. You are the best on YouTube videos. That's very, very, very kind of you. I appreciate that very much. A lot of work goes into that. I'm trying to give you as much unbiased advice as I possibly can by delivering real estate housing market stats from the source and not a whole lot of fluff. There's so much bad information out there. Wow, you're offering $200,000 over on a $700,000 house, and you weren't even in the top three. Wow, that's crazy. Tough market where you are. I missed, maybe that's San Diego. And yes, it can be silly, that's for sure. All right, let me get to some of these questions here. All right, say, thank you for your question. Appreciate you. Does price change on a weekly or monthly on the housing? Yeah, so here's a good question here. So the housing market, home prices don't, like, if there's something negative that happens in the housing market or in the economy that causes potentially an impact on the housing market, we typically don't see that on home prices and in the housing market in general for months. In contrast, of course, in the stock market, for example, because it's so easy to buy and trade stocks, if there's bad news if there's bad news in the world, then stock prices can go down greatly in just one single day. We don't see that in the housing market. It takes a while to have these downturns or corrections. So definitely more than a week. It would be months for something to happen. Seems like an easy thing, easier said than done, right? If home buyers said, "Hey, I'm gonna boycott, we're not gonna place offers on houses," and that'd be great. But yeah, it's just not gonna happen. I hear you. Home prices have increased greatly. Heidi Daniels, appreciate your question. Me, I'm happy you're in Atlanta. The houses are marked up $60,000 to $70,000. Do you think the price will begin to correct or up in 2022? And should we wait? This is probably, well, not probably. This is definitely the most common question I get. Should you buy now or wait? People are looking at how high home prices are. Interest rates are very low, so it's very enticing. Hey, maybe I should buy a house right now. But you're nervous. I totally get it. I'm not familiar with the market, of course, in Atlanta, but I would just say that there's no guarantees that home prices are going to decrease next year. They could, but they could increase. It's hard to tell. Then that's because there's things beyond our control, right? How many people are going to be listing their houses for sale, and how our interest rates are going to be, or sorry, how many people are going to be listing their houses for sale, and also are interest rates going to increase greatly? What are interest rates going to be like in 6 months? It's anyone's guess. It's so hard to tell. With home prices continue to rise, do you see large numbers of tenants priced out due to new homeowners trying to subsidize their mortgage with higher rents? What kind of issues can that cause? I haven't personally seen this myself, so it's really hard to answer your question. Word of a world of wisdom. I'm sorry. I wish I had a answer for you. And say, yeah. Someone else had a question about that, about Evergrande. I haven't done a whole lot of research about that. I know that they're behind on their debt payments, so that's a big issue. Time will tell if that's going to affect our market or not, and I probably should do some research regarding that. Good question. Fast. What percent of investors and realtors, anyone realty related, are selling off most of their house and renting from here on out till the settling? I don't know. I mean, I'm a realtor. I own a house, and I'm not selling. I haven't seen too many. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't. There's no stats regarding this. And if you are anyone, whether you're a realtor or not, and you want to sell your house and then rent, then of course you're speculating about what the market's going to be doing, and it's anyone's guess. Um, I mean, I know a lot of real estate agents that are not selling. Maybe there's some people who are selling, but you know, no one knows where the future lies ahead, right? Are home prices going to be increasing next year? Who the heck knows? Yeah, this is the big issue with SB9. So you have to have a larger lot. You have to obviously have space in order to build another unit, or have the ability to convert your current house. I think that because of construction costs so high, I really don't think this is going to affect the housing market much. Pros, cons. Thanks to your question. What's the average monthly mortgage? What price will cause affordability issues? What's the average monthly mortgage? The National Association of Realtors just posted their most recent affordability index. I think the average mortgage payment, which I don't really know exactly where they get this number from, I think it was around like $1,200. And in January of this year, it was around, I want to say like just over $1,000 a month. And that's for like nationwide. But what price will cause affordability issues? That's in the eyes of the beholder, right? So some people who have making a ton of money, increase of home prices by a little bit, it's not going to cause any difference whatsoever. So this is really, your question is really in the eyes of the beholder. Tiffany Ingram, thank you. Appreciate your comment. Thanks for joining. I can't believe we still have more than 100 people still on the channel here watching. It's awesome. Thanks to everyone for joining. I'm gonna be wrapping this up here in a little bit here, but I want to get to everyone's questions here. I had the intentions of doing this for an hour, and now it's 7:50. So obviously been doing it for a little more than an hour. All right. So Han Nguyen, where all cash coming from. So what I'm personally seeing is that people selling their houses in more expensive areas, and then also people who have stock options selling their stock or just have stock in general. So they're selling their houses and also selling their stock. That's what I'm personally seeing where a lot of the cash is coming from. Yeah, Alejandro building a house in a vacant lot. Yeah, I don't know why this is not focusing. The cost to build a house right now is just so expensive right now, so it's really challenging. And say, yeah, I don't know who the heck knows. Hard to say. I don't know why this is out of focus now. There we go. Linda, thanks for joining. Linda's a loan officer. She answer your questions. Yeah, was that a Ducati? Can't remember who had the fast bike in the background. Ducatis are very, very fast. Land is a liability until it is not. Not sure you're referring to. Alejandro, could you recommend a good and affordable neighborhood in the Sacramento area? So that's in the eyes of the beholder, right? So everyone has their own definition about what is a good neighborhood and what is an affordable neighborhood. If you want, you can shoot me an email, jason@meetjasonwalter.com. I'm happy to discuss further. Jennifer is licensed, wow, in 48 states. That's crazy. And go-to for veterans. Yes, she has a YouTube channel. That's awesome. Thanks, Sonia. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to be joining Christina on Sunday on her channel for her live stream. Can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. All right, Linda. Bank of America is offering 10% or $10,000 down payment program and $7,500 for closing costs. Each grant can be used for separate or same loan. Fabulous. There are certain criteria. Fabulous. So Linda is a loan officer. She'll be able to answer your questions regarding that. Excuse me. MK, awesome. You're new to the channel, just subscribed. Awesome. Welcome to the family. Thanks, MK. And so I keep on answering your question here, but yeah, about Evergrande, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'll probably make a video about it once we get more information. Okay, the program that Linda's referring to sounds like it's the CC grant program. I'd actually never been to Maine. Here it's beautiful though. This is true. I have a bunch of questions that are backed up that I'm just trying to get to everyone's questions, but I don't really have an answer for how is Evergrande going to affect the housing market. USDA down payment assistance, you have to gift 1% back. I hear you. Market is depressing. If you're a home buyer, it can be pretty depressing. That's for sure. Okay, moving to North Carolina. Awesome. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Orlando. Yeah, exactly. I want to do both lower my mortgage payment, but refinancing into a lower rate. Yeah, you can't keep your current HELOC. If you're going to do a refi and you have a HELOC, you have to refinance both loans. They're not going to allow you to keep your current HELOC. But I mean, why not just? I mean, is an option for you just to close out your HELOC and then to refi and then just get a HELOC afterwards? Is that an option for you? Yeah, it's not for everyone, right? I love California. It's not perfect to say the least, though. I've been in California for gosh, like 35 plus years. All right, let me get to your questions here. You're very welcome. Sorry, yeah, just I have a lot of backup questions here. I'm trying to get them all answered here. Here's a question. Focus Sport. I'm a buyer, and if I ask the seller's agent also represent me, do you think the agent would be will to take me on or convince this original client to favor me? So some agents are not comfortable with this. So it depends on the listing agent. Some listing agents would be happy to represent the home buyer and home seller. I've done it maybe, I don't know, twice, two or three times, maybe three times in my career, over 100 houses sold. So it doesn't really happen too often. Um, but I will say that the number one reason why real estate agents get sued is when they represent both sides. It's really hard to do that in today's market. You have to be very, very fair and transparent on both sides. You can't favor one party versus the other if you're representing both sides. So it can be really tricky. World of wisdom, home prices will not go down. We have inflation, shortage of labor, shortage of materials, energy costs rising. I mean, yeah, it's like the perfect storm right now. I certainly hope that we have inventory increase or something happens where the housing market slows down. It's not at the current pace right now is not sustainable. Focus Sport. It's not illegal, right? That's why I'm asking. Okay, if one agent can represent both, yeah. So absolutely, at least in my area, it's allowable. You can do that. You can represent both a buyer and seller. I would imagine maybe some areas, maybe some states don't allow you to do that. So just take a look at your area. No worries. Milkias, Holly. Sorry, just joined. No worries. Thanks for joining. I'm going to be wrapping this up here in a little bit, but I want to get everyone's questions answered here. You just joined. You have a quick question. Where do you see the housing prices in 2022? I am thinking about making a video regarding this because I know a lot of you guys commented saying you want me to make a video regarding this. I will say that it depends on some factors that are beyond our control. So I'm going to be making a video with some caveats. So two of those things are how many people are going to be listing their houses for sale, and of course, how high are mortgage interest rates going to reach? Hard to say, but yeah, I plan to make a video maybe this week, hopefully, if not this week, then next week. I should get a crystal ball in the background and say, here's what exactly it's going to happen. Weird excursions. That's an awesome name. Hello to you. Thank you, Kong. Appreciate that. You know, who'd be a good person to ask this question to would be Christina Smallhorn. Join us on our live stream on Sunday. Can you explain how property taxes work in California? Yeah, it's a broad question. So let's just say you buy a house for $500,000, then your new, they call it your property, or they call it tax assessed basis or tax assessed value, sorry, would be $500,000, right? So you buy a house for $500,000, then your new tax assessed value is 500K, whatever your purchase price is. In California, our base property tax rate is 1%. And then on any house, there's certain direct levies or voter approved bonds or mellorues that are added onto that. So in California, I would say on average, property taxes are around 1.25% on average. Could be lower if you're in a more mature neighborhood that doesn't have mellorues, for example. And mellorues, by the way, are an add-on property taxes to pay for the infrastructure around a housing development. So, for example, there's a new housing development, then in order to pay off or in order to pay for the roads or sidewalks or street lights or even parks and sometimes even schools. The homeowners as a whole can pay these Mellorues, which go to pay for these infrastructure around this new development. So, in any case, if you buy a house, let's say for $500,000, your on average your property taxes are going to be around 1.25%. So every year you're going to be paying your property taxes is going to be 1.25% of $500,000. Whatever the math is for that, you pay that twice. You pay that in December and you also pay that in April. But what most people do when they buy a house, they have what's called an impound account or escrow account. And so every single month, your payment goes to pay for your PITA. So your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So every single month, a portion goes to pay off your property taxes and your home insurance. So that is what property taxes are all about. And it goes to pay for, that goes to the county wherever you buy in to pay for the, services. One would assume that would happen, but look what happened earlier this year when home prices were continue to skyrocket, even when mortgage interest rates reached almost 3.5%. I would think they would have to have interest rates reach, I don't know, over 4.5% to really cause a downturn in the market. I am not a real estate fortune teller, though. All right, let me get to your questions here. Austin, Texas, Boise, Idaho, Utah, areas where they can get more for their money. Rob Miser, you're very welcome. Rob, are you from Sacramento? I know a Rob. I played water polo with a Rob Miser, but maybe you're not the right. Maybe it's a different Rob Miser. But yeah, I played water polo with a Rob Miser in high school. Oh, good for you. Awesome. Bought investment property in Chicago or where? You're very welcome, MK. Appreciate you. This is the ultimate question. Are home prices in California coming down anytime soon? They actually reached all-time record highs last month, or I should say in August, with the most recent stats we have. So Rita says, Jason, now the realtor's commission is lower since in a seller's market. My realtor, really? So are you saying that the total? So here's my question for you, Rita: is 3% you're saying is a total real estate commissions that goes towards your agent? Oops, just went out. So yeah, be curious what you mean by 3%. That total, or is that just for the commission you're paying your seller's agent? Because on top of that, you'd pay obviously about 2.5% to the buyer's agent. I do not know the answer to this. I don't know how property taxes work in Texas. That's a good question here. Chisel, how many days on market would warrant making an offer below the asking price? At about 70 days, prices are cut up to 100,000 in my area right now. Yeah, so that is entirely dependent on the area. So in Sacramento, if a house is listed for sale for more than 10 days and it's been on the market for too long, and so you might be able to get a deal, but less than asking price, maybe after like 2 weeks, for example. But if in your area, if 70 days is normal or if 50 days is normal, then you might have to wait for like 2 weeks after that. So it's entirely dependent on your housing market, how fast houses sell in your neck of the woods. Oh, Rob, no way. Good to see you, bud. I haven't seen talk to you in so long. Rob Miser, he was a goalie for me, or not for me, for our team when I played water polo in high school. That's awesome. I never know who's on these live streams, but definitely recognized your name, Rob. That's awesome. I wonder how you even heard about the channel. I never advertise it. That's cool. Hope you're doing well, bud. Rob was a really good goalie back in the day. I love water polo. It's such a fun sport. All right. So we got a couple more questions here and then we'll wrap this up here. So in a home we paid two times per year, $10,000 per year, or based on your calculation, 25,000 each time I paid taxes, assuming that's worth. Okay, so this is the follow-up of the property taxes. So if you don't have an impound account or an escrow account, so you can pay your property taxes twice a year, which is due on, I think it's December 15th and April 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So you basically pay it in December and April, if I'm right. I just pay my property taxes. I can't remember. Anyways, so yeah, if you buy a house for $500,000, then let me just do the math here because I'm not smart enough to do it in my head. So 500,000 0.0125, that's 1.25%. So that's $6,250 per year. And so each payment, if you were to pay directly to your county, would be $3,125. That's just on average though. So I would take a look at whom we paid. So it just depends on your area. So I hope that answers your question. So that's worth. Not sure where you get $10,000, but yeah, it just depends on the area. Some areas have much higher property taxes than others. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this video up unless anyone has any last minute questions. Still have 100 people watching after an hour and a half. It's awesome. I really appreciate you guys' support. So there's not any more questions. I'm going to wrap this up and have dinner with my wife. So hope you guys got some value out of this video. Please leave me a comment too. I'm also going to be posting this on my channel as well. So leave me a comment about what time of day or even what day you want me to make these videos. Is a 6:30 too late on a Tuesday? Let me know. If you got any value out of this video, please hit the like button. Hope you guys enjoy this live stream and have a good